My college friends smiled as they handed me a wedding invitation, but what they really planned was public humiliation. They made me sit at a table labeled single and lonely while they toasted their perfect lives and laughed in my direction. I ate alone. I smiled through it, but what they did not know was that just 1 week later, my face would be on the news, and their groom would be calling me, begging to invest in the very startup they once mocked. I did not just hang up. I blocked his number. My name is Julia Reynolds. I am 26 years old, a software engineer by profession, and the founder of a tech startup that no one really paid attention to until last week. What happened that week changed the way I saw friendship, success, and self-worth forever. And it all began with a wedding invitation I should have never accepted. Back in college, I was part of a group that called themselves The Core. It was made up of 6 people: Amanda, Chloe, Taylor, Jasmine, Ethan, and myself. Everyone was loud, fashionable, and loved being the center of attention. I, on the other hand, was the quieter one. I studied computer science, while the others pursued communications, fashion, and business degrees. They were never cruel to me, at least not in a way that could be called out directly, but their brand of joking always made me feel like I was somehow less than them. I often laughed along, trying to belong, but deep down, I always knew I was the odd one out. After graduation, I moved to San Francisco to chase my startup dreams. I poured my soul into building a platform that used AI to help small businesses manage customer support. For 3 years, I worked 12-hour days, eating cheap noodles and sleeping on a pull-out couch in my shared apartment. The Core, meanwhile, flooded social media with brunches, vacations, weddings, and bachelorette parties. We grew apart, and I thought that was the natural course of things, until Amanda reached out. Amanda had always been the unofficial leader of the Core. She was gorgeous, charismatic, and wealthy. She texted me out of the blue one afternoon. "Hey babe, long time. I am getting married next month, and I would love to have you there. It would mean so much." A week later, I received a gold-embossed invitation in the mail. The venue was an extravagant winery upstate, and everything about it screamed old money and curated elegance. Despite the strange suddenness of the invitation, I felt flattered. A part of me longed to see them again, to prove to myself that I had not been left behind. I spent an absurd amount of money on a forest green satin gown and booked a hotel nearby. I even rented a car, just to arrive in style. Looking back now, I wish I had trusted my gut instead of feeding my pride. When I arrived at the venue, everything was exactly as expected: chandeliers, string quartets, and champagne towers. Amanda greeted me with a tight hug and an even tighter smile. "Oh my God, Julia, look at you, you are glowing. What have you been up to? Still coding in your pajamas?" She laughed and waved someone else over before I could answer. Chloe and Jasmine walked past me with matching smirks, holding hands with their husbands. The ceremony was beautiful, I will admit. Amanda looked like she belonged in Vogue. The vows were rehearsed, the setting sun perfectly lit the vineyard behind them, and the photographer circled like a hawk. But the atmosphere quickly changed when the reception began. As guests were escorted to their assigned tables, I searched for my name on the printed seating chart. At the bottom corner, in faint cursive, it read, "Julia Reynolds, table 19, single and lonely." My heart dropped. I thought it was a mistake, maybe a joke. But when I found the table, the name cards confirmed it. Table 19 was tucked near the back, close to the kitchen doors. The centerpieces were wilted, the linen slightly stained. It was empty, except for one other guest, an elderly woman who barely looked up from her knitting. As I sat down, I heard laughter erupt from a few tables over. Amanda was laughing. Chloe nudged Ethan, who turned and looked directly at me, then back at the group. More laughter. Jasmine raised her glass in my direction and mouthed something that looked suspiciously like, "Still a loser." I felt my cheeks burn. I wanted to get up and leave, but I had spent money I could not afford just to be there. I had expected warmth, nostalgia, maybe even a reconnection. Instead, I felt like I had walked straight into a trap set years ago. Dinner was served. I ate alone while the others clinked glasses and danced. No one came to speak with me, not even Taylor, who used to pull all-nighters with me in the library. I left early, quietly slipping out during the bouquet toss. On the drive back to my hotel, I cried. Not just from embarrassment, but from a deep sadness I could not explain. All those years of trying to prove I belonged, and this was the result. But life, as it turns out, has a strange sense of humor. Just 3 days after that wedding, I received an email from a well-known tech journalist. He had come across my app after one of his interns used it to manage a client issue. He wanted to do a feature on how small startups were disrupting traditional customer service platforms. We spoke on Zoom, and he was surprisingly genuine and interested. 2 days later, the article was published. The piece went viral. Within 24 hours, my inbox exploded. Investors, tech recruiters, startup incubators, all of them wanted to talk. My app's download rate tripled overnight. I was overwhelmed, exhilarated, and stunned. All those years of being invisible, and now suddenly, people were watching. But nothing prepared me for what happened next. It was a quiet Sunday morning. I was sipping coffee when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then it buzzed again, and again. Finally, I checked the voicemail. "Hey, Julia, it is Ethan. Yeah, from college. And Amanda's wedding. Listen, I read that article about your startup. Really impressive stuff. I actually manage a venture fund now and, well, I think we could work together. Call me back." I stared at my phone in disbelief. Ethan? The same Ethan who laughed at me while I sat at the single and lonely table? The one who once joked I would end up married to a keyboard? Now he wanted to invest? I did not think twice. I opened my contact list, searched for his number, and blocked it. But that was not the end of it. After I blocked Ethan's number, I felt an odd mix of satisfaction and unease. It was the kind of closure I never thought I would get. But less than 2 hours later, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a DM on Instagram. It was from Chloe. "Hey girl, long time. Saw your article. OMG, can we talk? I have a friend who might need your tech for her boutique line." I did not respond. An hour later, Jasmine followed me on LinkedIn. Then came Taylor's email, pretending like we were long-lost collaborators with so much catching up to do. One by one, they began crawling back into my inbox like flies to sugar. They masked their intentions behind fake praise and forced memories, anything to attach themselves to something they had once mocked. But it was Amanda who truly stunned me. She emailed me from a personal address, not her wedding planning company domain. The subject line simply read, "I owe you an apology." I nearly deleted it, but curiosity got the better of me. The email was long, emotionally polished, and yet somehow hollow. She claimed she had no idea about the table label, blamed it on a junior planner, said she was too emotionally overwhelmed to notice I was seated in the back. She added a single line at the end that made my stomach tighten. "Also, Ethan told me you blocked him. He really believes in your company, Julia. Maybe give him a chance. We all just want to support you now." That line made it clear. It was not about support. It was about access, influence, clout. Still, the emails and messages did not stop. Ethan used a second number to text me again, offering a meeting over lunch at a discreet location, just to talk shop. I ignored it. But the following week, I found out something disturbing. He had submitted a proposal to one of my early investors, pitching a near-identical platform to mine, claiming it was a better version. I was furious. I reached out to my legal advisor and started drafting letters. At the same time, my startup began getting offers for acquisition, real money. Suddenly, every small thing I had once worked for in silence was now sitting in front of me, and I had choices. Power, leverage. But one night, as I was working late, something even more shocking happened. My assistant forwarded me an RSVP form submitted through my website's Contact Us page. It was from Amanda. She had selected the box labeled, "Request a demo for your business." In the notes, she wrote, "My marriage is not going well. I need help managing my brand's support desk. We are drowning in complaints. I heard Julia's platform is amazing." That sentence hit me harder than I expected. I sat frozen for a while, rereading it. Amanda, the same person who had practically weaponized humiliation at her wedding, was now asking for help. Not as a friend, but as a client. and she did not even know I had read her name before deleting the form entirely. The next day, I walked into a high-profile meeting with a tech firm that wanted to acquire my company. As I sat across the table from their CEO, I noticed a familiar face walking into the cafe where our meeting was being held. It was Taylor. She was with a man I recognized as one of the firm's junior partners. She looked shocked to see me there. Her eyes widened when I was introduced as the founder they were about to acquire. She came over after the meeting, pretending it was a coincidence. "Oh wow, Julia. I had no idea you were working with Simon. That is amazing. Listen, if you ever need PR help or branding advice, I am back in New York now. Let us collaborate sometime." I smiled, but deep down, I knew exactly what was happening. That week, I approved an internal press release announcing the company was in talks for a multi-million-dollar deal. We published it to our website, and I posted it to my personal LinkedIn. The traction was instant. Old college acquaintances, ex-coworkers, even professors reached out with glowing messages, most of them sounding rehearsed. But what happened the following day was something I did not expect. Someone posted a photo in a college Facebook group, an old one from junior year. It was from a Halloween party. Amanda was dressed as some kind of glam witch. Chloe was wrapped in glittery fairy wings, and there I was, in the background, blurry and half-cut from the frame. The caption read, "Crazy how the girl who no one noticed is now the biggest success in our year. Major respect." The comments exploded. People tagged me. Others started calling out the core for the way they treated me in college. One user even wrote, "Was not she the one they all laughed at for bringing her laptop to a pool party?" The thread went viral within the alumni group. It was both validating and exhausting. I had never wanted pity. I had never wanted revenge. But it was happening anyway. And then, 2 nights later, someone showed up at my office. Amanda. She was standing in the lobby in heels and a beige designer coat, looking more tired than I had ever seen her. I watched through the glass wall as she paced around, checking her phone. My assistant buzzed the intercom. "There is a woman here who says she is an old friend. Amanda. Kane?" I paused for a full minute before replying, "Tell her I am in a meeting." Even though I was not. She waited for 20 minutes, then left. She did not look back. But before she disappeared, she slipped an envelope under the glass door. I picked it up after she was gone. Inside was a note, handwritten. "Julia, if I ever made you feel like you were not enough, I am sorry. Life is crumbling around me, and the only thing I can think about is how much I laughed at the wrong people. You built something real. I hope one day you can forgive me." I read it twice, then I folded it, placed it in a drawer, and turned back to my desk. Because the next day, I was scheduled to meet with a global firm to finalize the biggest decision of my life. The meeting with the global firm took place on a cloudy Thursday morning. I wore a navy blue pantsuit, simple earrings, and no makeup beyond a neutral lipstick. My goal was to look sharp, not polished, like someone who had built her empire through grit, not gloss. The firm's name was Whitestone Technologies, and they wanted to acquire my company for a figure that made me physically sit down when I first read it. But something inside me hesitated. As I sat in the boardroom surrounded by their top executives, sipping mineral water and answering questions about scalability, integrations, and user retention, I caught a strange look exchanged between 2 of their legal advisors. A small twitch, a half-turned glance, quickly covered. I tucked the thought away and stayed composed. After the presentation ended, the CEO, a calm and confident man named Dennis Clark, extended his hand to me. "Julia," he said, "what you have built is exceptional. I believe it is only the beginning. But I must ask, have you considered what selling this now might mean for your legacy?" I smiled politely, but inside my thoughts were far from calm. That word, legacy, had been haunting me since the wedding. All these years, I had wanted success just to survive. But now, people were watching, judging, begging to join in, and part of me wanted to show them all what a girl from Table 19 could really build. As I left the meeting, I checked my phone. A voicemail notification blinked. I played it without much thought, expecting another investor or journalist. But it was a woman's voice, trembling, urgent. "Julia, this is Stephanie. I do not know if you remember me, but I was Amanda's assistant for the past 2 years. I saw your article and I need to talk to someone. Please call me back. It is about Amanda and something you need to know." I froze. Stephanie. I vaguely remembered her, always the quiet one, usually walking 2 steps behind Amanda, holding a clipboard and sipping iced coffee. I called her back immediately. She answered on the first ring. Her voice was shaking. "I quit last week," she said. "Could not take it anymore. She is in trouble. Her brand is a mess, and her husband, Ethan, is trying to take control of everything. They are not just having marital problems. He is trying to force her into signing over ownership of the company because he found out something about you." My blood ran cold. "What about me?" I asked. "He found out that Amanda lied about that wedding seating chart. She designed that table label herself, the single and lonely one. She even joked about it during the planning meetings, said it would be a fun way to remind everyone Julia still codes in sweatpants. I think she never thought anyone would find out." I felt something crack inside me. Stephanie continued, her voice more intense now. "But that is not all. Ethan used that as leverage. Said if she did not give him partial ownership, he would leak all the emails where she talks trash about her old college friends, including investors, including you. He wants control over her business, and he is using you to do it." I thanked her. She sounded relieved just to be heard, but as I hung up, a dark sense of power settled over me. Not the kind that made me want to destroy Amanda, but the kind that reminded me I held the truth now, and that truth could do serious damage if released. That night I got a text from Amanda. It was just one line. "Please do not believe everything people tell you. Can we talk?" I did not answer. But I did think, long and hard, about Amanda, about Ethan, about every cruel smirk from Chloe, every time Taylor cut me off mid-sentence, every time I laughed to blend in, about how I almost sold my company just to prove I had made it. Instead of responding to Amanda, I went to my whiteboard and started sketching version 2.0 of my platform, a bigger version, a bolder one that would serve enterprise clients and consumer brands at scale. Something no one would see coming. I worked through the night, fueled by a fire I had not felt in years. The next morning, as I sipped coffee and stared at the sprawling notes on the board, I got another email. This one was from a popular business podcast host who wanted me to come on for a live episode titled "From Invisible to Unstoppable." I agreed. The episode went live that Friday. I told my story, from working alone in a basement apartment to being humiliated at a college friend's wedding. I did not name names. I did not have to. The internet filled in the blanks. Within hours, people dug up Amanda's old wedding blog posts. One photo in particular caught fire, the table card at table 19, labeled in looping cursive, "Single and lonely." Zoomed in, reposted, shared again and again. The caption read, "Tech CEO, Julia Reynolds ate alone. Here while being mocked." This is what she built since. Amanda disabled her Instagram that night. By the weekend, my email was flooded again, not with apologies, but with job requests, partnerships, endorsements, and then one more message arrived, this time handwritten, a real letter, delivered by courier. Inside it was a check, a personal check for $500,000, signed by Ethan. The note said, "An investment if you will reconsider." I did not. I tore it in half. And then, just before leaving the office for the weekend, I walked to the back wall where my degrees hung. I took one down, made space, and hung something new, a framed photo of that table card. Single and lonely, a reminder of where I had been seated and what they never saw coming. The following week, I received an invitation to speak at a Women in Tech panel in New York City. It was being hosted at the same university where I had earned my degree. At first, I laughed out loud. The same campus where I used to eat lunch alone between computer science labs was now calling me back as an example of success. But as I read the full email, my expression changed. One of the organizers was listed as Chloe Morgan. For a few minutes, I sat motionless. A dozen possible motives ran through my mind. Was this a trap, a setup, or just irony playing out in real time? Still, something in me said I needed to go. Not for Chloe, not for the core, but for the girl I used to be. The girl who sat in the back of crowded rooms, pretending she was not listening when people whispered. So I accepted the invitation. The day of the panel arrived, and I wore a tailored grey suit with soft curls in my hair. I looked polished, but not overdone. The venue was a glossy auditorium filled with fresh-faced students, executives, and alumni. I could feel eyes following me as I walked to the stage, but I stayed calm, composed, focused. The panel went smoothly. We discussed everything from fundraising to burnout to imposter syndrome. I shared how I had built my company alone, from scratch, with nothing but a cheap laptop and an obsession with solving one specific problem. The crowd applauded. I smiled. But as the event ended and people filtered out, Chloe appeared. She was standing near the side exit, holding a coffee cup and wearing a stiff smile. "Julia," she said, "you were incredible up there. Really. Listen, can we talk?" I paused. She looked nervous, which was strange. Chloe never used to look nervous. She always had an answer, a comeback, a smirk. But now she looked tired. "I owe you the truth," she said. "And not because I want anything. I need to say it." I waited. She exhaled and lowered her voice. "Amanda lied to us, all of us. When we were planning her wedding, she told us you had requested to sit alone, said you did not want to deal with people, that you preferred it." I believed her. I really did. But last month I saw the real seating chart, the original one. It was normal. She edited it after the final print, for fun, as a joke. I felt a cold stillness settle in my chest. Even after everything, I had never considered that Amanda might have lied to the group too, not just to me. "She made us laugh at you," Chloe whispered. "And the worst part is, we did. We all did. Because we were so used to following her lead." There was a pause. "After your story came out, Amanda lost a lot of clients. Her brand took a hit. But she will survive. She always does. The one who will not." Chloe looked down. "It is Taylor. You do not know this, but she was the one who leaked that college photo. She thought it would make you laugh. Thought maybe you would see it and realize people were rooting for you. But Amanda found out, and now Taylor is blacklisted from 3 PR firms. Her career is done." I did not know what to say. I had never asked for that post to go viral. I had never wanted to burn lives down, even if those same lives had ridiculed mine. Chloe touched my arm lightly. "You have every right to ignore us forever. But Taylor, she is not like Amanda. Not really. She was just caught in the middle." That night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about Taylor. About the night in college, she had brought me soup when I had the flu. About the time she had warned me not to take a certain class because the professor was awful. She had not always been cruel. She had just followed cruel people. And then I thought about myself. How many times had I followed bitterness instead of clarity? The next morning, I made a decision. I sent Taylor a message. Short, direct. "Meet me for coffee. One time. No drama." She responded within 2 minutes. We met at a quiet cafe downtown. She looked nervous, really nervous, but grateful. I let her speak first. She apologized, not just for the wedding, but for the years of complicity, for every time she saw Amanda's cruelty and said nothing. And then she said something that stayed with me. "I never thought we would need you," she said, "but we did. You were the only one who saw the world differently. The rest of us, we were pretending to be powerful. You became powerful." That sentence undid something inside me. For years, I had dreamed of revenge. Not the messy, loud kind, but the kind where I would rise above them so completely they would be forced to watch from below. But now that I was here, all I could feel was emptiness. And then, something else happened. Taylor took out a small USB drive and slid it across the table. "What is this?" I asked. "Proof," she said. "Amanda has been sabotaging your reputation quietly. She emailed a few tech blogs and investors claiming your company stole code. None of them believed her, but she tried. That is everything. Emails, screenshots, legal drafts." I stared at the drive for a long moment. Then I picked it up. Not because I wanted to use it, but because I needed to understand just how far Amanda had gone. As I walked back to my office, I felt a shift in me. Not rage, not even sadness, just a deep, grounded clarity. Amanda would keep scheming. Ethan would keep manipulating. People like them always did, but they no longer had a seat at my table, and they never would again. I did not use the USB drive immediately. I placed it in a locked drawer and let it sit there for several days. Not because I was unsure of what to do, but because I wanted to make sure I was not acting out of ego. I wanted my next move to be smart, not just satisfying. In the meantime, my company's valuation continued to rise. Investors kept calling. Our new client portal launched 2 weeks ahead of schedule. I had everything I had ever dreamed of, on paper. But success did not erase the memory of humiliation. It did not undo the laughter that echoed from Amanda's table while I sat alone, pretending not to hear. Then, one afternoon, as I was finishing a call with my legal team, I got an unexpected email from a tech blog. The subject line was chilling. Anonymous source claims your startup's code was copied. Attached were screenshots of emails Amanda had sent under a burner address, ones I had already seen on Taylor's USB. She was still trying to destroy me, even now. She had no idea I already had every word saved, catalogued, and timestamped. I responded calmly. My team sent out a public statement with receipts proving the authenticity and originality of my code. I did not name Amanda, but I attached one damning sentence at the end. False accusations made by those with personal vendettas cannot erase truth, and truth always outlives noise. The story died within hours. That night, I made a call. Not to Amanda, not to Ethan, to my lawyer. We filed a formal cease and desist notice to Amanda's company for defamation and reputational harm, attaching every piece of evidence from the USB. It was a quiet move, handled professionally, without fanfare. But it hit hard. By the next week, Amanda's brand sponsors had quietly pulled their funding. 2 of her major clients announced they would no longer be working with her. Her Instagram account went silent. But the twist that followed was one I never saw coming. It happened during a keynote event I was invited to in Los Angeles. The topic was female resilience in tech, and I was the closing speaker. I had just finished my talk and was stepping down from the stage when a woman walked up to me, her face partially hidden under a baseball cap and dark sunglasses. "Julia," she said softly. I turned, expecting a fan or a journalist, but it was Jasmine. Her hair was shorter, her makeup lighter. She looked human, not the perfectly polished, eye-rolling Jasmine I remembered. "I need to talk to you," she said. "Just give me 2 minutes." I almost walked away, but something in her expression stopped me. We sat on a bench outside the conference hall. She spoke quickly, nervously. "I left the Corps," she said. "I moved out of state. I work at a nonprofit now. I do not talk to Amanda anymore." I could not keep pretending, but there is something you need to know. I waited. "Ethan. He is not done. You think he gave up after the blocked call and the check? No. He is working with a dev team in Texas, trying to build a mirror version of your app. Same logic, same framework. He already pitched it to 3 of your potential clients." I felt the wind leave my lungs. She looked at me, her voice low. I should have said something sooner, but I was afraid, and honestly, ashamed. "I just want to help. I owe you that." I thanked her. There was no drama, no rage, just a quiet understanding that this would never truly be over unless I ended it. Back home, I called an emergency meeting with my team. We shifted into protection mode. Patents were filed, legal walls were reinforced. We launched a rebranded version of the app with updated architecture that would be nearly impossible to replicate. Every investor was briefed. Every user agreement was revised. It took 10 days of no sleep, but it worked. Ethan's copy attempt collapsed before it got off the ground. And then, I did something that surprised even me. I wrote an open letter. I published it on my blog and shared it with our entire mailing list. It did not name names, but it spoke about every betrayal I had lived through, from being mocked by so-called friends, to being underestimated at every stage, to being used when the spotlight finally hit me. It ended with a single line. "You may have seated me at the single and lonely table, but I built my own, and there is a line of people waiting to sit with me now." That post went viral, again. But this time, something different happened. Other women, some I had never met, others from college who had once ignored me, started sharing their stories. Stories of exclusion, humiliation, quiet endurance. It was like a floodgate had opened. What began as my revenge turned into something so much greater, a movement, a reckoning, and for the first time, I felt free. I never heard from Amanda again. Last I checked, she had moved out of the city and gone dark online. Ethan's fund quietly dissolved. Chloe still worked in marketing. Taylor surprisingly joined my company 6 months later as a branding consultant and proved to be one of the most loyal employees I have ever had. Jasmine sent me a postcard once with nothing but the words, "I believe in who you are now." As for me, I still keep the photo of that table card, framed, on my office wall. Not because I need the reminder of what they did to me, but because it reminds me of what I built when they thought I had nothing. It reminds me that no matter where they seat you, no matter how far they push you from the spotlight, you can always rewrite the ending. You just have to be willing to build your own table. And when you do not invite them back. Let them stay in the past, where they belong. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Like the video if you believe in building your own table. And do not forget to subscribe for more stories that hit hard, heal deeper, and remind you who you are.